requires no awesome basic understanding to figure out what's off base with Horrible Bosses, a foul-mouthed and used comedy of male hatred coordinated by Seth Gordon. The issues can be counted with a demure glower and a swaying finger. The motion picture, in expansion to being expectedly disgusting, is boisterous and incredible, and its humor teases with prejudice, goes consistent with misogyny and lovely much weds homophobia. There are weapons, drugs, a few references to sex acts including pee and net insuperable, unless they are luxurious compliments, I'll get back to you, to the regarded calling of dentistry. So here is the apparent perplex: Horrible Bosses is additionally as often as possible exceptionally clever. One reason is that it does not bother to cut its coarseness with a tricky measurements of sweetness or respectability. Nor, in any case, does it make a huge appear of being provocative, of imagining that its attacks into unpalatability are acts of bravery. It takes the standard human characteristics of idiocy, selfishness, lust and covetousness, additionally stupidity, embeds them in a human condition that's befuddling, out of line, additionally doltish, and turns the total too-bad exhibition into a carnival. The chuckling is cruel but also oddly unadulterated. It ousts disgrace and leaves you feeling bleary-eyed, a small humiliated, additionally elated, kind of just like the cocaine that two of the most characters devour by mishap. The story includes 3 appalling bosses and the 3 representatives who promise to kill them. What makes the motion picture work is how genuinely shocking the bosses are, what terrible casualties the workers are, and how awful the workers are at murdering. They'd be let go in a moment by Kill Incorporated. The motion picture causes especially difficult twinges at this minute in American history when workers are in a powerless position and their bosses know it. The moment boss we meet is Dr. Julia Harris, Jennifer Aniston, an erotomaniac dental practitioner. Her target is Dale, Charlie Day, her dental right hand, who is locked in to be hitched, but so what? She needs him, and she will have him, reveling in obtrusive and forceful sexual badgering. You know those small water picks dental practitioners have? You do not need to know what she does with one after pointing it at Dale's Netherlands. The third boss is Bobby Pellet, Colin Farrell, nearly unrecognizable. Bobby has taken control of the company from his adored father Jack, Donald Sutherland, and employments it to finance a way of life of vomited abundance. His worker Kurt, Jason Sudeikis, was a protege of the ancient man, and now watches with frightfulness as Bobby runs roughshod over natural confinements in a range to extend short-term benefits. Scratch, Dale and Kurt meet after work on as well numerous days to bitch and groan almost their bosses, and one night, ended up motivated to kill them. This leads them into an obnoxious bar in look of a hit man, and they meet a man named Jones, Jamie Foxx, indeed the initials of whose moniker do not have a place in a family daily paper, qualifying as they do as a recognizable adjustment of one of Carlin's 7 words. The scene of their unfortunate nose candy fling embodies this movie's soul. On the one hand, the folks, Dale, Charlie Day, and Scratch, Jason Bateman, alongside their companion Kurt, Jason Sudeikis, have broken into a house to do a little recon for one of 3 murders they arranged to commit. Usually a terrible thing to do. On the other hand, there's something charming around their express insane awkwardness. And their trip into bad habit and guiltiness appears as guiltless because it is frantic. The franticness permits Horrible Bosses to brush ever so delicately against a few obnoxious social substances and to discover a flicker of lesson awareness in a torrential slide of crude gaggery. Dale, Scratch and Kurt are all stuck in appalling employments, at the kindness of bosses whose control is outright and self-assertive. "I possess you," says Mr. Harkin, Nick's self-satisfied, savage boss, played by one figure, Kevin Spacey, with all the deadly smarm he brought to Swimming with Sharks, and more. Beyond any doubt, it's a simple bit of casting, but so is Colin Farrell as a skittish, irreverent playboy and Jennifer Aniston as a provocative dental specialist. I cruel a sexually ruthless dental specialist, in spite of the fact that the refinement is misplaced on Kurt, who considers she's hot. But he doesn't work for her. Dale does. And her consistent torrent of illusion and requesting, she's as unpretentious as a handyman making a house call in a porn film, makes him awkward. The sheer blandness of this circumstance is what makes it work, coupled with its nearly dreamlike unlikelihood. Dale. In expansianto being a committed almost husband, his briefly seen fiancée is played by Lindsay Sloane, could be a ball of rodent-like, numbskull anxious vitality. He's the assigned annoying dimwit friend, Zach Galifianakis contracted down to Gilbert Gottfried estimate. As his pals, Mr. Bateman and Mr. Sudeikis don't precisely break ground. Mr. Bateman is uptight, on edge and abiogenetic, terminating darts of weary mockery with his eyes, whereas Mr. Sudeikis may be a pleasant, sensitive doofus who too happens to be catnip for the women. Seth Gordon, the chief of horrible bosses, describes a scene from his comedy. At slightest the two women with considerable talking parts, Ms. Aniston and Julie Bowen, who should have more and superior things to do. But to go in courage on this topic would ruin some jokes. As well as driving me back toward the sour, complaining tone of the primary section. The sexual politics of horrible bosses are less repulsively retrograde than those of goodness, the headache, portion 2, somewhat since of Ms. Aniston's comedian expertise and mostly since they are adjacent to the point. To degree that there's a point, beyond sheer irrationality, which is fine on its possess, by the way, it has something to do with the injustice of work at a time of tall unemployment. When everything seems to be tilted in favor of those who already have control. Harkin prods Scratch with a ghost advancement, making a brutal diversion of his underling's humble ambitions. Mr. Farrell's feckless character, who acquires the company where Kurt works, could be a monster of untrustworthiness. Dale is subjected to raising harassment and shakedown. These binds are as overstated as the bumbling homicidal response they rouse, but at that point once more, in times like these, what are abused and mortified laborers getting to do? Connect a union? Go to court? That would be a distinctive motion picture. This one is substance to create a appear of the kind of abilities that are improbable to induce anybody exceptionally distant within the working environment but that are in any case fundamental to the capacities of farce. The verbal humor is more a matter of riffing than of conveying perfectly characterized jokes, but the timing of the cast, outstandingly counting Jamie Foxx, as well as the others as of now said, is immaculate. And Mr. Gordon and the scholars, Michael Markowitz, John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, permit the entertainment to construct, heighten and swerve off course. You're within the hands of experts, which suggests that, within the ways that check and indeed when it shouldn't, Horrible Bosses, works. Horrible Bosses, is appraised R, beneath 17 requires going with parent or grown-up gatekeeper. Generally conversation, of the kind that would get you, or at slightest me, in a parcel of inconvenience at work. The headache guy's victory may perhaps have secured a green light for this sometimes interesting but for the most part unrefined, charmless and misinterpreted comedy that veers between wide knockabout fabric and something yearning to the more reasonable, hyper-observed comedy fashion of TV's The Office. Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis and Charlie
Thanks for watching our video. As we wrap things up, we want to say a big thank you for being a part of our awesome community. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our future adventures. We appreciate all the likes, comments, and support you've given us. It's because of viewers like you that we're able to keep creating great content. So stay tuned for more exciting videos coming your way. Remember, you're the reason we do what we do. Without you, our channel wouldn't be the same. So, until next time, take care, stay awesome, and keep spreading the positivity. See you soon.